Want to be a topper in MBA entrance exams? Join BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and watch serial 99 percentilers teaching you the tips and tricks.
Good noon, all of you. How are you all? So I welcome you to this crash course, right? We've had some sessions as part of our MAH CET crash course. Today we have a session on error correction. Why this session? Because again, pick up your previous year papers. You will see that a lot of grammar questions have been asked in the form of sentence correction, error spotting, phrase replacement. Okay, so to address these question types, we need to practice them. Okay, and through these, the idea is that we will be practicing a number of grammar concepts also. So I've tried to include diverse grammar concepts. Some of you were asking me yesterday, which all concepts do we need to focus on? The truth is that you need to focus on all the parts of speech, subject-verb agreement, parallelism, modifiers. Okay, so these are a must. And that's why I've tried to include diverse concepts in today's questions. Good noon, all of you. A very happy noon, Samir. Good noon, Om. Hi, Tanvi, Shubham. Hello, Vijay Dharmi. Good noon, Arpita, Sonali. Hello, Tushar. Hi, Roosters. Good noon, Harry, Kashish. Okay. Good afternoon, Prashant. So ready for attempting some questions in a time constraint? Yes, we'll of course. I don't have timers today, but we'll try that we attempt these as fast as we can, right? Because see, in your exam, for the grammar portion, for the vocabulary portion, you should try to be relatively fast at them so that you get more time for your RC passages. Okay, so if you complete your vocabulary and grammar in an average of 30 seconds per question, 30 seconds, and that's an average. Some questions will take you as less as 10 seconds. Okay, so if you do that, then you'll have ample time left for your RC passages, for your verbal logic portion, be it parajumbles, critical reasoning, etc. Okay, all right. So good noon, all of you. Let's begin. All right. So our first question will follow the pattern that I have seen in your memory-based papers. We did this in sentence improvement as well, right? So a sentence is divided into three parts, 1, 2, and 3. For each part, a corresponding correction statement is given. There a statement is given that suggests a correction. Determine the part that requires correction. That's what you have to do. So here's a sentence divided into three parts. These three correction statements are given. Match them, see which of them looks better in case you feel, okay, this one looks better as compared to this. That means that one may require correction. So accordingly, you can narrow down then to A, D, and B, D, and E. That's how you have to proceed. Yes. Let's see. One sentence divided into three parts. All right, good noon. Same here, Priya. Good to see you too. Let's attempt. Good afternoon, Payal. Praveen has answered. Praveen says C. Okay. Others? Harry also says C. Om C. Mamta C. All right. Okay. Have you liked and shared this session? That's the poll that is on your chat screens right now. So please like before answering this poll, before marking yes in the poll. Right, C is the answer. That's what you're telling me. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So new research suggests that that is important here. New research suggests that the impact of a person's physical health on their mental health. So that is important here, and therefore one does not require any correction. That eliminates three options right away for me. Okay, so now let's have a look at 2 and 3. So new research suggests that the impact of a person's physical health. Now see, if there were no correction statements given here, no, a lot of you might have thought that this is correct. Why? Because in our spoken English, when we say person, when we use the noun person, it is a little tedious to use the pronouns his or her time and again for the noun person. Yes, so we say this: a person has to, must, so of a person's physical health on their mental health. You would hear it in spoken conversations. In fact, it has become quite normal in spoken conversations. Even let's say apps like Facebook, Instagram, they when they refer to a person, they use the pronoun they, their instead of he or she or his or her, right? Because it is gender neutral. This is gender neutral. So in a bid to become gender neutral, there has been this move towards they, their, even for nouns that are singular. That is why you must have seen that in spoken conversations, people say, you know, someone has left their purse here. Someone has left their purse behind. So, someone is singular. In standard British English, in written English, you should not say someone has left their purse behind. It should be someone has left his or her purse behind. Okay, so standard English has to still catch up with the developments that have taken place in our world, with the recognition, representation that is now there to all the genders. And that is why it is still stuck with his or her, and we are also still stuck with his or her here. Okay, of a person's mental health on his or her physical health on his or her mental health, right? So second does require a correction is so profound. In fact, in the exam, if you are sure about one, if you are absolutely sure about one, you need not bother much about two, isn't it? Two is present in both the options. So the one that you should be bothered about is three. Of a person's physical health on his or her mental health is so profound. Now here I require a that it affects even the basic cognitive functions, right? So it affects even the basic ones. So that was required here again. So 3, you are absolutely correct, requires correction, and C is our answer. Absolutely. Good. I think we had a unanimous C. Yes. No one said anything else. Great, great. So that means now this noun pronoun relationship is clear to you, and this pronoun that, where should I put the pronoun that is also clear to you, right? Okay. Let me ask you a question then. None of the students, dash uh, completed dash homework. So what should I say here? Has or have, his or her or their? Yes, tell me. Now that we've done the previous question, what would you say? None of the students dash completed dash homework. So Dharmi says his or her. Okay. Others? Aishwarya says has. Okay. So has and his or her. That's what I've got. Mamta says have. Dharmi says have. Okay. So then Dharmi, after have, why am I putting his or her? Then we have, okay, Shaina says have and there. Sameer has his or her. So let's clarify this. I thought that this could be a problem. That's why I took up this question. See this. So the examples that I took earlier, a person is a noun. Then I said somebody has left. Somebody or someone. Somebody or someone. Someone is more formal. Somebody is less formal. That's the only difference. Someone, anyone, no one. Now see, no one is different from none. Someone, anyone, no one, everyone, they are always singular. They are always singular. Okay. So someone has left his or her purse. No one has left his or her purse. Everyone has left his or her purse, right? Always singular. But none is not the same as no one. No one refers invariably to a living thing, right? Usually to a human being. But none is just a proportion. Remember Sanam pronouns In case you've been attending my classes, Sanam pronouns, this acronym, some is not the same as someone. When I say give me some water, any, none, all, more, or majority here, right? Majority or more. Now, if you look at it, none is just a proportion. It's just a proportion. It could be of anything, no? Of anything, any person, right? None of the people actually. It can't be of one person. It can be of multiple people only. So none is just a proportion. So are these: some, any, all, more, or majority. Now with proportions, the rule is that it depends on the noun that comes afterwards. Okay, so none of the students have completed their homework. None of the students have completed their homework. Okay, not has and his or her. None does not function in the same way as these four. None is from this group, and in this group it's the noun that comes later on which decides what is going to be the verb, what is going to be the following pronoun. Does this make sense, or do you need more examples? Yes. None of the students have completed their homework. If I'm using have in the verb, then I need to use their in the pronoun. You can't make it plural in one case and singular in the other. Right? So all of these are pronouns. So some of the cake was brown in color. Some of the cakes were brown in color. When I say some of the cake, I'm referring to just a portion of one cake. Some of the cakes, multiple cakes are there. Some of them were brown in color. Okay, perfect. Then that means we can proceed to the next question. So here you have this question, 3 statements again. Tell me what should be the answer. Some of you must have figured this out. Let's see. As per, okay, so you read it instead of my reading it out for you. B, okay, Om says B. Om has answered the fastest this time. All right. The previous one was answered by Praveen. Okay, Praveen answered the fastest last time. Mamta says A, Dharmi says B. Okay. Rishikesh says B. Roosters E. All right. So A, B, E. Okay. B. More of B's. All right. Okay, okay. Okay, so A, B and E. This is what I have got. Right. Now, 1 seems to be, so basically 1 and 2 is what you feel that these might require correction. Okay. As per, so right when I read this, no, right at this point, 1 becomes wrong. As per analyst estimates, it should not be analyst's estimates. It should not be analyst estimate. This is completely wrong. Okay, either I should say analyst estimates, or I should say as per analysts apostrophe estimates. Okay, so as per analysts estimates, this would mean analyst ka estimates, and this here is using a noun as an adjective. This here is using a noun as an adjective. Okay, so that's why we are using it as singular. Remember, we discussed this when we say 500 rupee note, we say rupee note. We don't say rupees note, right? So because there I'm using the noun rupee as an adjective. Similarly here I'm using the word analysts or analyst as an adjective. So I'll not use the plural. When the noun that is used as an adjective comes before another noun, of course it is coming before the noun estimates, you do not put the plural in it. That is incorrect. So as per analyst estimates, the grown, now see, after, when I was making this question, so I felt that some of you might not be able to distinguish between these two. You might not even pay attention to these two. That's why I added another very obvious error, which is the grown pessimism. This should be the growing pessimism. So as per analyst estimates, the growing pessimism in the market regarding economic recovery. Now, this is a subject-verb agreement concept. What is the subject of this reflect? What is the subject of this reflect? Please be a little patient when I'm discussing a question, no, and you ask a question in between. I read that question. It's not like I haven't read it, but I want to finish what I started. So just be a little patient, okay? So tell me, what is the subject of this verb reflect? The growing pessimism, okay? The growing pessimism, absolutely. Rest is just noise. Rest is the extra bit, isn't it? So as per analyst estimates, what reflects? That's the question that you should ask yourself. What reflects or reflect, whatever. So the answer that you'll get is not economic recovery, no. Okay, not market, no. It's the pessimism that reflects the fear, right? So this pessimism, because it is singular, this reflex should also be singular. And that's why yes to also requires correction. The answer is B, Bangalore, not A, not E. Okay, not A, not E. Hope this is clear. All right then. Perfect. Let's go to another question of the same type, the last question of this type. Let's see what you say here. Now, a query was asked that some advice for repeaters. So first of all, I want to acknowledge this fact that last year the exam threw a surprise for everybody when it was not divided into sections, when there were some questions that didn't seem related at all to the MBA entrance tests. Okay, so that's why last year was a little challenging for everybody. But now you stand better prepared, because now you are mentally prepared for the fact that the exam may not be divided into sections, right? Now please don't start asking me, will it be, will it not be? I can't predict. I'm not an oracle, right? So you are prepared for the eventuality that it may not be divided into sections. When I took the 3-month strategy session, the MAH CET 3-month strategy session, I addressed all these things. I addressed this one also specifically, that what should you do for your English if, let's say, it's not divided into sections. How should you go about RCs? How should you go about vocabulary and grammar? All of that is there in that session, right? Now, third thing is that, see, your reason for, let's say, repeating is something that varies for everyone. For instance, some of you might have been, let's say, relatively weaker in quant last year, in VARC last year. So you know what your weakness was, and I hope you have worked on that weakness in this 1 year, right? So having worked on it, now you know how many, let's say, what all areas in a particular section they are your strength. So if, let's say, last year QA was your weak area, now you've worked on it, there must be some topics that must be your strengths. So capitalize on those strengths in the exam, right? Similarly, based on what went wrong last year, evolve your strategy. So if, let's say, last year you started with some English questions, but that didn't work for you, you ended up wasting a lot of time. Okay, then see in the mocks, is it still going that way? Is starting with English still, going bad for you? If yes, then evolve your strategy. So based on the learnings that you got last year, evolve your strategy. Okay, be prepared. Be prepared for, let's say, no division into sections, right? I hope you worked on your weaknesses. And lastly, if it was because you panicked on seeing no sections, if it was because of your, let's say, state of mind that you were not able to maintain your calm and that's why things went wrong, then please take as many mocks as you can, and make it a routine, so that no matter what surprises are thrown at you, because you've practiced enough, you are prepared for anything. Okay, just realize that you have to handle various surprises, and I think all of these things together should suffice. Okay, they address your preparation, your strategy, everything. Okay, all right. Now, coming to our next question here. Some of you already answered. Okay, none of the above. That's what you feel. All right. Why is it? Why none of the above? Yes. Why none of the above? So, you feel that this is absolutely correct. The report suggested that schools should discard. Is this fine? The report suggested. Okay, fine. The correction also says suggested. So we compare it with correction. Is this should required here? The report suggested that schools should discard. Is this should required? So here, see, the alternative is this says the schools discarded, which is wrong. Okay, the schools didn't actually do this. The report is making a suggestion that the schools should do this. So yes, it is fine. Okay, consolidate. Consolidate. So should, discard, consolidate, use. This is a parallelism question. Consolidate, discard, use. We are given a list and all the elements of that list should be parallel to each other. Okay, so use there. This is also fine. We're talking about multiple schools. So when I check them, see how I check in grammar. No, I try to focus on each and every word. I have a fault finding approach, a fault finding lens. Yes, so I checked suggested, I checked whether should was required. Okay, I saw that fine, these were parallel. There should be the pronoun here. Okay, so and it's a suggestion, so there should be a should. So this is how you have to look at your grammar questions. Perfect, absolutely correct, none of the above. Okay, no error here, very good. All right, so look at your sentences with a micro lens. Okay, here I think the corrections themselves were so wrong that you would not have marked any of these as correction, right? Discarded, consolidated, used. They didn't actually do that. This was a suggestion that was made. Okay, good. All verbs are, yes, absolutely, Aishwarya. That was the clue that none of the, that neither of 2 and 3, the correction statement, neither of them are correct. Okay, so yes, neither of them is correct. Sorry. Each, every, either, neither, always singular. Each, every, either, neither, always singular. When used as pronouns, of course, I am talking about their usage as pronouns. So, always singular. Why did I mention this specially when used as pronouns? Because some students start applying this rule to either or and neither nor. No. Either or, neither nor, these are not pronouns. Here they function as correlative conjunctions. Okay. So, in either or, neither nor, what is the rule? Either Ria or her parents dash coming. What should I say? Is coming, are coming? Yes. What is the rule? Yes, BYJU'S does provide you with some marks. I think 6 marks are available for MAH CET, right? So, but I think you have to buy them. I think that. So just see if there are any free marks available. You can check this on the app. Okay, BYJU'S Exam Prep app. So Rishikesh says is. All right. Either Ria or her parents is coming. Either Ria or her parents are coming. Are. Good, good, good. Aditya, Vishal, it should be are. Verb depends on the nearest subject. Very good, Sonali. So here the nearer one is her parents, right? Which is plural. So remember, each, every, either, neither. When I talked about them as pronouns. Okay. Here when I say either or, this pair, neither nor, this pair, these are called correlative conjunctions, conjunctions that exist together, come together. And here the rule is that it depends on the nearer subject what the verb is going to be. Either Ria or her parents are coming. Okay, because this is plural. If I said either Riya or Priya, then is coming. Either Riya or Priya is coming. Right? Hope this is clear. All right, perfect, perfect. So it depends on the nearer subject. One usage of either as a pronoun. Let's do that as well so that you remember. Um, either of the pens works fine. Either of the pens. Now see, here either has been used to refer to pens. That is why it's a pronoun. That's why it's a pronoun. Now, whenever either is there as a pronoun, the subject is either. The subject is either. Basically, you are trying to say either works fine. Okay, either works fine. Either writes fine. So, works should be singular. Not work. Not work. Okay. Either of the schools is good. Yes, yes, correct, Aditya. Either of the schools is good. Not are. This is a very common error. All right. So let's attempt the next set of questions, 4 to 6. Now in 4 to 6, again, a part of a sentence has been underlined. So this is phrase replacement, right? And you are given 5 alternative ways of phrasing this underlined part. The first one is a repetition of the original. So the first one is simply a repetition of what is written in the original sentence. The other 4 are different. So you have to tell me which of them is correct. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Yes, tell me. Is there any other session at 1 planned for you today? Okay, Varun says B. All right. Harry D. C. Okay, so B, C, D. All right. 3 B's I've got. All right. Okay. And what is it that I'm seeing in the chat box? Just 41 likes. Okay, so I'll tell you the correct answer once you go and press the like button. Yes, I think I'll have to do this. I didn't want to resort to blackmail, but you are forcing me to. Come on, go and press the like button. I'm just checking it in my phone. How many of you liked it? And then let's discuss the answer for this. Yes. Let me just see. Error correction. All right. Okay, so they've increased to 49. We need them to increase further. Okay, thank you, Om. All right. So I've got a number of responses for this one. So probably that means you found it a little difficult. Okay. All right. Others, yes. I'm waiting. And I'm looking at my own session from my phone just to see how many like the session. I'm not going to start discussing this. Yes. Hmm. Meanwhile, we can discuss genital things. How you are. Okay. So, B, cool. Okay. BD. Okay. B, D, C, and I think I saw one A also. No. Yes, I saw one A. Fine. So, this is, yes, um, relatively nuanced concept. To Suresh, Delhi was his home long before it was considered. Now, the question is, what does this it refer to? To Suresh, Delhi was his home long before it was considered acceptable to leave one's home for job opportunities. Right. So, this it, does it refer to Delhi? Tell me. Does this it refer to Delhi? Yes, yes, I have pressed the like button, Rishikesh. So, this it does not refer to Delhi. Okay, and it is just saying that long before it was considered, see, we say this, no, long before it was considered cool to post your videos on Instagram, she has been doing it. She was doing it back then also. Okay, so long before it was considered, she did it. So long before it was considered cool, this it does not refer to a particular place here. Okay, this it here refers to the fact of, let's say, leaving your home for your job opportunities, right? So this is what this it refers to. It does not refer to Delhi, right? This it refers to leaving one's home or to leave one's home for job opportunities. So long before this thing was considered acceptable, right? Suresh actually did it. That's the idea. So here there is a confusion in the original sentence, that does this it refer to Delhi? Was Delhi considered acceptable? No, not at all. So A is wrong. Now let's look at B. For Suresh, long before it was considered acceptable to leave one's home for job opportunities, Delhi was his home. Okay. All right. For Suresh. For Suresh, long before, that means what I'm trying to say is long before it was acceptable for Suresh. Long before it was acceptable for Suresh. So it's not that Suresh found it hard to accept, right? So for B again gives a distorted meaning. B again gives a distorted meaning. Okay, the acceptance is not for Suresh. See, Suresh made Delhi his home long before to be acceptable to leave one's home. I think C can be easily rejected. Suresh made Delhi his home long before to be acceptable to leave. Long before it was considered acceptable, right? Eliminated. Between D and E, let's see. Now, see this. Long before it was considered acceptable to leave one's home for job opportunities, Suresh made Delhi his home and he remained there long after a lot of people left. Right? So, this one appears to be very grammatically consistent. Let's just read it if it is better. Long before it was considered acceptable leaving one's home, it should be acceptable to leave one's home for job. Okay, opportunities is missing here, something that's there in the sentence, but grammatically also this is correct. Delhi was home to Suresh. Now here the subject is Delhi. Here the subject is Delhi. And here the subject is he. So there is this inconsistency. If in your next sentence the subject is he, in your previous sentence also the subject should be Suresh. You get it? So if I'm able to keep this consistent, if I'm talking about the same people and in the next sentence he is the subject, then in the previous one also I should maintain consistency. So D is the best choice here. All right. Okay. It refers to the fact. Correct, Abhijit. Correct. Uh, I hope now you've understood why B is not the answer. All right. Any queries? Any queries to ask? This was a question that required you to think something. So this is a case of pronoun ambiguity. In grammar, we call it a case of pronoun ambiguity. Here in the original sentence, the pronoun it was ambiguous. Okay, so let's move to the next question now. You've learned something nuanced in this one. In D, why is there no scope of doubt for the subject or reference of it? Okay, so indeed the doubt is not there because see this. Uh, when I say this here, uh, the subject of the next sentence is Suresh. The subject of the next sentence is Suresh, right? So long before it was considered acceptable, what? To leave one's home for job opportunities. And then I begin the discussion. Suresh made Delhi his home. Delhi is not even the subject of the next sentence. It comes later on, right? So the confusion arises when it can refer to two things. Here in the same clause, okay, in the same clause, it could refer to two things, Delhi and to leave one's home for job opportunities. Here in this clause, there is clearly one noun phrase that exists. So it's quite clear that the pronoun would refer to this noun phrase, right? Delhi is not present in this clause at all. And even in the next clause, the subject is Suresh. Delhi is not even the subject, right? So I hope this makes sense. In option B, phrase के बाद noun आना चाहिए. So yes, that would be a better way to construct it. Moreover, for Suresh should not be the construction. Okay, Suresh made Delhi his home and he. Suresh did X and he did Y. That's the structure. Parallelism. Suresh did X and he did Y. So Suresh should be the subject. Okay. For Suresh, Delhi was his home. Delhi is the subject. All right. Okay then. Let's go to the next question. And yes, I hope you've done this. So let's see what the next question says. This is not very difficult. Let's see. What you say. Aishwarya, even to Suresh should be incorrect. Because again, when you say to Suresh, so Delhi was his home to Suresh. If I say that, or to Suresh, Delhi was his home, the subject still remains Delhi. Okay. For RC passages, Tushar, first of all, MAH CET RC passages are not very challenging. Okay. Now, what you should do, I released a short also for it, how to become better at MAH CET RC passages. So I'll just quickly capture that for you. See, focus on first of all, prioritize your RC passages. Don't begin with something that you don't even like reading, that you find difficult in terms of language. Second is that you focus more on the easy and direct questions. See, सबका mark same मिलेगा, isn't it? All of them will fetch you the same marks. So easy, direct, vocab based, grammar based, focus on these questions more. You are bound by a time constraint, utilize it to the fullest. Okay, so focus on such questions more, these 4 question types, and trust me, out of let's say 5 or 6 questions that a passage has, I'm very sure that 4 questions will fall in this category. There will be 2 questions that will be the tricky ones, right? So if you do that, I think MAH CET RC passages don't pose such a big problem. The challenge is just to read them and complete them in the given time constraint. So it's more about speed. It's a speed game there, right? Okay. Now coming to B. Acha, so here you've told me B. All right. Also, some of you say C, some say A. Okay, but mostly say B. Many of the fossils found on the site belong to the Cenozoic era. Okay. Now this is a parallelism question again. Out and out parallelism question. I looked at either, I looked at or, and I realized, oh, okay. Either or correlative conjunctions, whatever comes after either should be consistent, should be parallel to whatever comes after or. That is what this question is based on, right? So if you see here, after either we have with the sludge, but after or we don't have any preposition here. We just have schist debris, right? So incorrect. Here, after either we have the sludge, but after or we have with. So the opposite of the error that was made in it, isn't it? There after either there was a preposition, here after or we have put a preposition, but not after either. Eliminated. Either quoted. So if after either I mention a verb, okay, either quoted, basically the third form of the verb acting as an adjective, right? Either quoted or again quoted or something or layered, perhaps some verb was needed here, that is not present. Eliminated. So the choice now is between D and E. So belong to the Cenozoic era and either quoted again or with. If after either there's a verb, then after or how come there's a preposition? There's only option E that fits. Are quoted either with the sludge from the volcano or with schist debris. Okay, are quoted either with the sludge from the volcano or with schist debris. So E is the answer. Good. All right. Hope this makes sense. B is not the answer. Hope you've realized why B is not the answer. Either or parallelism question. Okay. So I hope this is correct. This is clear to you. Aditya, you're changing the sentence altogether. Let me just see what you're trying to say. In the previous question, Aditya says that long before it was considered acceptable to leave one's home for job opportunities, Delhi announced restrictions for foreigners. Long before. Yes, even then the answer would be D. Even then the answer would be D, because all I need to make clear is what does this it refer to, right? Acha, wait, but then we have this phrase, no, and he. So if you change the first part altogether, who is this he? He remained. Who is this he? Okay, we can't change the first part altogether. We have to mention Suresh there. All right. Idioms and phrases notes. Okay, so Shaina, tomorrow there is a session on idioms and phrases only. And idioms and phrases, see, if you ask me, except Renan Martin, okay, or let's say some dedicated books that just give you idioms and phrases. So I don't want you to buy more and more books, right? I have already told you to have Renan Martin and WordPar Made Easy. So Renan Martin has a list of idioms and phrases, right? And it's not just a list with meanings, word meanings. No, it basically uses them in sentences also. So it's not that boring either, both idioms and phrasal verbs. So why don't you go through this list once? If let's say this is also, some students just don't believe in rote memorization or are not able to rote memorize, even that is a skill. So for them, I have suggested this app earlier, vocab 24, right? It again, this gives idioms in a very fun manner, right? It's fun in it. Idioms divided according to colors, body parts, animals, etc. So you can go for this, right? So ultimately you will have to make a conscious effort to learn idioms. This could be through various lists available, right? So this is a list that I've told you. It could be through this fun approach which I found in vocab 24. There is this dedicated app called idioms and phrases. I think that's what I have. Just a second. Idioms and phrases. Yes, idioms and phrases. So this just mentions it as a list, right, and gives you an idiom for the day. So ultimately you have to go through learning these idioms. Okay, so there's no standard list that I have, right? I also have learned it from multiple sources. Okay. All right. Now, should we consider the length of the passage, Abhijit? The passages won't vary widely in their length. Okay. So, I think more than the length, the relevance should be of the language, the difficulty level, and the topic. right? Okay, now I think I can move to the other queries. Where to find questions based on parallelism? See, there is no one dedicated source that will give you just parallelism errors. In case you are up for it, GMAT has an official guide, which you again don't need to guide, just search on the internet, you'll find it, right? Which has sentence correction questions, which includes parallelism questions. Okay, so this includes parallelism questions, and again, they are not isolated, you will find them here and there, so you'll have to look for them. Okay, no dedicated source for just parallelism errors, right? Even if you find a dedicated source, they'll not have very complicated questions on it. What you can do, okay, yes, one thing that you can do is just Google sentence correction parallelism questions, and I think quite a few GMAT questions based on parallelism will turn up, okay, automatically. Right. For the VARC section, the ideal time is 40 minutes. 40 minutes is the ideal time for the VARC section in mocks and in the exam. Okay. Kinjal, I have suggested one app earlier as well, Vocabulary Builder by Magoosh. Okay, see, I am someone who isn't automatically by default very interested in apps, but this one interested me also, so I think it will interest you also. Okay, all right, let's see this one. Let me just check it, Varun. Let me just check once. Tell me, what should be the answer for this one? Yes, don't get lost in your queries only. Keep this in mind that we have to solve questions as well. Practice. I don't think you will find MAH CET previous year papers on the BYJU'S Exam Prep app. I think you will just find one on the BYJU'S website, MAH CET 2020. The reason being is that these are memory based papers. So nobody has actually officially released them. And because of that, because of these copyright concerns, you will not find them on the app. Okay. For MAH CET parallelism specifically, I don't think I have conducted a specific session on parallelism. I'll search for one, Aishwarya. If I find one, I'll share it with you. So E is what I've got. Aditya and Sonali say E. What do the others say? Yes. Okay. E, B, E. All right. All right. Let's see what the others say. Okay. E, B, D, E. Okay. So this is what I've got from you. Any other responses? Dan Ariely's. Okay. So a respected figure. Who is a respected figure? Who is a respected figure? Dan Ariely or his books? So when I add this phrase in the beginning, a respected figure, then the clause that comes next, it should refer to Dan Ariely as the subject. Because Dan Ariely is the respected figure. Dan Ariely's two books are not a respected figure. So going by that, all A, B and C, they become wrong right away. Okay. So always compare your options. Read vertically. Okay, read vertically and you'll realize that यहाँ पर two books given है, यहाँ पर Dan Ariely wrote two books given है, right? So Dan Ariely wrote two books on behavioral economics that are to the field of economics similar to, or what? That are to the field of economics what Freud's books are to the field of psychology. They are to economics. They are, sorry, to economics what Freud's books We are making a comparison. Freud's books are to psychology. So similar to is not how we'll make this comparison. We should say they are similar to that, but they are to economics. They basically mean that to economics what Freud's books mean to psychology. So E is the answer here. Okay. Hope this is clear. Good. E, not B, not D. Please bear this in mind. Right? Okay. So now just a couple more questions, right, of this type. A sentence has been expressed in 5 different ways. I'm going to time you for this one. Okay. Identify the option that expresses the sentence correctly in terms of standard English. Please read vertically and look for differences. Okay. Look for differences. And this is a very easy question. Let me see who answers the fastest. We've done this concept multiple times in our sessions. Let's see. Okay. So Nandini, when I say a respected figure in the previous question, for whom can you use this phrase, a respected figure? We say this, no, he is a respected figure in his field. He is a respected figure in the family. Respected figure is a term that is used for people. It is never used for books. So if I say a respected figure, Dan Ariely's books, that would mean that his books are the respected figure. No, he is the respected figure. So Dan Ariely should be the subject, not Dan Ariely's books. When I say Dan Ariely's books, वहाँ पे Dan Ariely is not the subject. Books are the subject. Right? I hope this makes sense. Alright, so D, C, that's what I've got. A lot of D's I'm getting. Easy question, right? So, who answered the fastest here? And correctly? I think it was Om. Okay. So the dish ratatouille was developed by a French chef. Okay, this part I think is the same except this C. By the French chef. Am I naming the French chef? No. So it should be a French chef. By whom it was named? If I'm saying a French chef, I should straight away say who. Okay, the who will refer to the French chef. By converted to passive voice. By whom? So who makes sense? Okay, by whom eliminated? Whom eliminated? Because for the French chef, when I talk about him further, I will say who named it, not whom named it. He named it, not him named it. Remember? So these two are left. Who so named it, but it looked like stew. Why the contradiction? What's the need for this contradiction? Because it looked like stew. So he named it ratatouille because it looked like stew. Okay, he named it ratatouille because it looked like stew. So ratatouille, the root of the word actually comes from stew. Okay, so that's why the answer is D, Delhi here. Good, good. Most of you said D. C would be rejected. By whom is not what I require. Who for describing the French chef. Why convert it to passive voice? Clear? All right. Okay, then this one. Let's see who does it the fastest again. Very easy question. Very easy. So I kept the last few questions easy only. Just to check your speed. Let's see what you say. Basically, it just stresses on the fact that he named it in this way. He named it, he kept this as the name only. What is the reason? So that's why we say so named it. Who named it so, or who so named it? That means he gave it particularly this name only. Okay, emphasizing why he gave it this name itself. Okay, B. All right. What about others? Varun has answered B for this one. All right, all right. So BAE, a lot of E's. All right, all right. Let's see. COVID vaccines, plural. So has eliminated. How come are we saying E? Although various COVID vaccines has raised hopes. Yes, those who are saying E. What has happened? Tell me. How can E be the answer? You have to find the correct one. You have to find the correct one. The sentence that expresses it correctly. So, has is eliminated. Many scientists are still skeptical. Are. Present tense, isn't it? So, I can't say had raised hopes. Although various COVID vaccines had raised hopes. Past perfect is used when you follow it up with past simple. When you follow it up with past simple, it indicates a sequence that, okay, this happened earlier in the past. This happened, this happened later in the past. So, there is no reason for me to use past perfect here because here I have the present tense. Eliminated. So C and A eliminated. Now let's look at others. There being a cure. Do I need this being? Do I need the continuous tense? Although various COVID vaccines have raised hopes for there being a cure in sight. I don't need it. Okay. So I don't need the being. Now between A and D, they have raised hopes that a cure is finally in sight. Okay. There is a cure. There is a cure. Whereas a cure is finally in sight. Which is more concise? Which is more concise? Tell me. There is a cure finally in sight or a cure is finally in sight? D is more concise. Yes. I don't need the there is structure. I don't need that there. So D is my answer here. Hope this makes sense. All right. Okay, the last question for the day. Let me see what you say. Let's see, let's see. Fastest fingers first again. I have kept it easy. Correct, Sonali. Just read your comment. Let's see. All right. Last question. Let's see who gives the answer here. Who answers it the fastest? Okay, Varun says C, Harry says B. Who becomes the third person? Let's see. Om says D. Okay, so C, B, D cannot be determined. Okay. B, B, all right. B. Okay. So let's see which out of B, C and D is correct. Maybe one of them is indeed the answer. Right. The 30 varieties of this plant include the creeper, which can grow. Okay, this is growing as big as, growing up to be, and wrapping itself up. When we wrap up something, or let's say when we use growing, in fact, why am I using the continuous tense in the first place? That is not clear to me. Why the continuous tense growing up to be, right? Then wrapping yourself up, we wrap ourselves up in a blanket, right? So wrapping ourselves up around something, we are enclosing ourselves around that plant. That's what it would mean. Usually it's used for wrapping gifts. Okay, wrapping, putting on warm clothes. I haven't seen wrapping up being used in the context of wrapping yourself around the plant. The up is not really required there. Okay, moreover, I have a problem with this continuous tense. If I'm talking in the present simple tense, why am I using this structure growing up to be? Right, as if this is a consequence. If it were a consequence, then I would have understood this use that, okay, gerund use kar rahe hain, consequence diya hua hai. Okay, however, I am giving a quality of this creeper, right? So, creeper, which can grow makes sense. All right, growing as big as 50 feet long, redundancy, absolutely redundant. As big as 50 feet long, okay, The long is sufficient. You don't need as big as. You don't need as big as. So actually, B, C, D, none of them are the answers, right? So let's look at A and E. The 30 varieties of this plant include the creeper, which can grow to be 50 feet long, and it wraps. Do I need this it wraps? I mean, do I need the repetition of it? Tell me. Do I need the repetition of it? I don't. The answer is A. A was correct. The 30 varieties of this plant include the creeper, which can grow to be 50 feet long and wrap itself around other plants. Right. So why this wrap here? Because the can is implied, which can do two things. Which can grow and wrap. Which can grow and wrap. You get it? A is the correct answer here. Good, good, good. Those who realize this later on, A is the correct answer. And I think Aditya said A right in the beginning. Good. Those who figured this out. So these were some good level questions. Okay. The questions, sentence correction ones, and these 5 ways of writing a sentence. The level of these questions was good. Okay. I tried to keep it to the GMAT easy level. Right. GMAT ka easy level, because that's what you need to practice at the most. Okay. All right. So I hope this makes sense to everybody and you found something new in the session today. You learned new things, right? And yes, I'll see you tomorrow with idioms and phrases. Okay. And please, if you haven't liked, please do. Please share it with your friends. If you want anything else to be covered, you can always comment it in the comment box. I'll see. Okay. And you know our toppers, this is our batch that you can join. And this is how we can stay connected. Okay, through this channel. All right. Welcome, welcome all of you. Bye. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Welcome.